Well, it's such a pleasure to be with you here today. This is a wonderful time for us to get together and move into a new relationship with Spirit, a new understanding of our gifts, and knowing the truth of our being. My lesson title today is Rise Above Your Past. And this particular lesson is about getting beyond our past hurts and pains so that we may claim our gifts and prosperity of spirit. Well, in the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 14, it says, "Forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize." Here, Paul is saying that we must forget what lies behind us, let go of our past, so that we may claim our prize from God. You know, oftentimes when life doesn't go our way, we in our humanness tend to respond by developing a negative attitude or a cynical outlook. At times, we become absorbed in the problems and misfortune that we previously experienced. It's so easy to harbor the the regrets and guilt from something that was done or left undone in our past. Friends, your past hurts and pains are held only by your thoughts. It is not the incidences of hurt and pain, but the memories of them that causes the consequences you are experiencing today. The moment they are dropped from your consciousness, they are gone from the only place that they ever really existed, in your mind. To rise above your past literally means to be free of the bondage of your past to which you bound yourself. What you've been or done is not important. What counts in life is what you're reaching for, what you're becoming. If you are wishing and praying for some new unfoldment, some new inner or outer change, are you ready to let go of the person you have become and become the person you desire to be? Can you be the person that God sees you as being? Then there's a very huge thing that you must do. You must allow yourself now to make a choice to rise above your past disappointments, doubts, and distresses, to forget the things that are no longer serving your highest good, to forgive yourself and to free yourself of the heavy burden that has been implanted in your memories and subconscious mind. Eric Butterworth, he said, true forgiveness, the probably the only kind of forgiveness, is self-forgiveness. God forgives as you forgive and forget, as you free yourself of the limitations that have held you hostage or imprisoned by your past. Let's take a listen to Oprah and see what she has to say on this subject.
Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different. I think for myself, and I know many of you, you think forgiving means accepting what has happened to you. Well, it is accepting that it has happened to you. Not accepting that it was okay for it to happen. It is accepting that it has happened, and now what do I do about it? Forgiving is giving up the hope, not holding on, hoping, wishing that it could have been any other way than it actually was. Giving up the hope that the past could be any different. And when I got that, I think it took me to the next level of being a better person, because I don't hold grudges for anything or any situation, and neither should you. It's letting go so that the past does not hold you prisoner, does not hold you hostage.
In the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 25 and 26, it says, "I, even I, am he who blots out your transgressions for my own sake and remembers your sins no more." Friends, if the Spirit of God can forget and blot out your transgressions, mistakes, and errors, your sins and blunders and faults from your past, shouldn't you do that as well? Shouldn't you be willing to rise above them? Yes, you have a choice on how you respond to the negative conditions of your past. Instead of living in fear, why not live in faith? Instead of living in self-pity, why not come from a place of compassion for others? Instead of holding on to the past, why not let them go and live in the present moment? Hmm. Two monks, a senior monk and a junior monk, were traveling together. At one point, they came upon a river that had a very strong current. As they prepared to cross the river, they looked over and saw a young, beautiful woman who was also attempting to cross. She saw them and called over to them and asked them if they would help her cross the river. The two monks glanced at each other because they knew they had taken a vow to never touch a woman. Without a word, the older monk picked up the woman, carried her across the river, set her down gently on the other side, and carried on with his journey. The younger monk couldn't believe what he had just saw. He was speechless. After rejoining his companion, they continued to walk for an hour without a word to one another. Then 2 hours passed, then 3. Finally, the younger monk couldn't contain himself any longer and blurted out, "We are not supposed to touch a woman. We are not permitted to touch a woman. How could you then carry that woman on your shoulders?" The older monk looked at him and replied, "Brother, I set her down on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her?" The moral to this Zen story is an important message about letting go of the past and living in the present moment. So often we carry around our pains and hurts and hold on to our resentments when the only person we're truly hurting is ourselves. We can choose to reflect on past events and actions, but ultimately it'll only weigh us down and sap our energy. And until we come to a place, a new level of peace and happiness with our past and present circumstances, we'll never be content or find true inspiration. Therefore, we must come into an understanding that all we have is now. We must reposition our irrational perceptions, assumptions, and beliefs and seek to turn our challenges, past and present, into new opportunities and possibilities. Here are a few keys to help you rise above your past concerns. 1, accept what you cannot change. Andre Gide, he said, "We cannot discover new oceans until we have the courage to lose sight of the shore." It's hard when we don't have control over something. But when we can't change something, it's useless to try to force the issue. It will only lead to distress. Instead, spend your efforts on what you can control and change. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in moments where you have actually just no control over what's happening. Emotional health and well-being and finding true happiness requires that we accept the things that are out of our control. Are you with me? Number 2, triumph over misfortune by turning it into something positive. Nietzsche said, "That which doesn't kill us will make us stronger." That which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Unfortunately, it is so easy for us to focus on the horrible events that have befallen us, whether it's a financial loss, a relationship fallout, betrayal, or some physical illness from the past. Instead of whining and responding like everyone else, face your adversity with a courageous heart. Allow yourself to come into an understanding that as we uncover the new things that are happening in our lives, we uncover a new meaning, life mission, and existential understanding that allows us to come into an understanding that if we just show a willingness to make things better, we can move beyond our moments of suffering. That brings us to number 3, which is kind of in alignment with number 2. Number 3 says, instead of whining over past issues and present problems, Do something to make things better. As we all know, idle complaining gets us nowhere. Yet for some reason, it's still so easy for us to feel like the victim, to blame others, and to curse the world for our problems and conditions. Friends, cease allowing yourself to think about those negative occasions and begin to embrace a more positive outlook and outcome. Allow yourself to understand that what it says in the book of Romans is true. In Romans 12, verse 2, it says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Friends, when you change your thinking, your world changes. Number 4, don't get stuck in the past reflecting on what should have or could have been. This is a big one now. You see, when bad things happen to people, they often relive the moment over and over again in their memories. They tend to hold on to the regrets and guilt of something for something that didn't go a certain way. They can't seem to shake that feeling of failure. When we hold on to past mistakes, when we hold on to those moments of error, they can start to define us. Instead, look toward the future with bright expectation and embrace a now mentality. This moment that you have now, live in the now and bring forth your positive ways in the now. So there we have it, friends. A few keys to help us rise above the past hurts, pains, distresses, disappointments, and errors. Friends, we can rise above the scars, stigmas, and pain of the past. But we must be willing to stop thinking and talking about those past failures, limitations, and errors. Accept your self-worth unconditionally and love yourself as your own best friend. You are worthy of light, prosperity, love, and freedom. You are a living, breathing, creative, and divine being capable of changing the world. Come into a new awareness today. Forgive yourself. Accept what you cannot change. Overcome that misfortune. Don't complain, and don't ponder over what could have or should have been. You are worthy to win the prize. So don't allow yourself to be deterred by past lack and limitation. Instead, rise above it. Remain in the present and know that you matter. And friends, if you do that with me, I promise you, you will come into a new relationship with God, with spirit, with prosperity, with love, with health, and you will win every prize. Are you willing to do this with me today? Well, thank you all, and God bless you.